Blog Talk Radio.
Good evening, everyone. This is me, Jonathan Alexander, and I'm here to host our show, Life, Laughter, Happiness. Today, I have my co-host, Barbara. Are you there, Barbara?
Yes, I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Hi,
and
how are you?
Great.
And our dream interpretation expert, Karen. Are you there, Karen?
I'm right here, my friend.
Hi,
Okay.
Karen.
Hi,
Kelly,
sweetheart.
our coach, Kelly, will be here in a bit. She's running a little bit behind, but she'll be there. Today, I think we agreed on the subject of dream interpretation and premonitions. And I thought that was an interesting topic because there's really no I took a psychology of dreams class, and there's so many different ways to interpret dreams because cultures view things differently.
Absolutely.
There's one culture may view as an eagle as life, and the other one may view the eagle as death. You understand?
Yep.
But I'm just wondering, maybe this will be a good thing to start things off. What would be an interpretation of a dream that means something psychic, Karen? Like, in other words, if I dream it, it means someone that this is a psychic dream. It's meant to be taken from a psychic perspective.
Well, I can give you literal definitions of that.
Okay.
I had gotten married in June, and my mother, I had two dreams the very first week of July, and I dreamt that I was looking at a body in a casket.
Okay.
In a funeral home, and I woke up at about 2:00 in the morning. Bolt upright. And my now ex-husband said to me at the time, "What's the matter?" And I said, "My mother's going to die." Now, there was nothing wrong with my mother at the time. She had arthritis, but that was not the reason. I must have taken her to 10 doctors, to the point where I think they were going to throw me out of their office and tell me I was crazy. There was nothing wrong with her. So the end of the story is, and I said to my ex-husband, my mother's going to die and she won't make Christmas. My mother died December 23rd of a cerebral hemorrhage.
Oh. By the way, Kelly's here. Are you there, Kelly?
Yeah, hi.
Hi, sweetheart.
Okay,
how are you?
Pull up a chair, Kelly. Pull up a chair.
Hanging
right.
in there. How are you?
Yay.
Yeah, sorry. I was like, I put in a little message. I was like, I'm here, but don't interrupt her.
It's okay. It's just like real life, honey.
Yeah.
When did you say that?
Oh, I put that in the message, but I don't have Wi-Fi because I'm in the car. So, yeah, you probably didn't get that.
So it is
You'll
floating in
like
the
10
ether
minutes.
somewhere.
Yeah, you might spend like 10 minutes when I get home.
Well,
See, and then we'll know she was in the car.
What we're doing, Kelly,
Yeah.
we're talking about dream interpretations right now at least, that are psychic, sort of like premonitions, I guess. And she was telling us something
Well,
about
they're called prophetic dreams.
Oh,
And that there actually is a name for them.
Okay.
It is. I had a lot of friends that unfortunately passed away from AIDS, and one of them was a very dear friend of mine that I had known. We had known each other for half of our lives, and I begged him to wear a body condom. He said, I don't do that, Karen. Don't worry. I'm not taking those risks. And this was, oh, by the way, and the coincidence, he happened to have been born on Christmas. And I watched him like a hawk. I begged, I pleaded, and he died in my arms.
Oh.
And unfortunately, there was nothing more I could do about it because I dreamt it, I knew it, but it wasn't going to change the outcome. I'm deeply grateful that I had the dreams about my mother, even though it was not my mother in the dream. I woke up knowing that it was my mother, and it was foretelling me that I had just a few months with her left.
Yeah.
And
so you're glad to know that.
Well, it's very interesting. Every once in a while, someone will come for a reading and say, "Don't tell me anything bad." And I look at them and I go, "See, first of all, I don't believe there is bad news. Is there difficult news? Is there complicated news? Absolutely. But I've always believed that it is better to know than for somebody to make up Disneyland and lie to you about something that is not true in any way." And it is, I mean, that's just me. And you guys know, I will not make something up. It's not in me. I won't do it. And because it's your life.
That's
and
right.
It's a very interesting thing when you have a prophetic dream. Prophetic dreams are incredibly impactful. Everybody's had them. They just sometimes don't realize that that's what they are until afterwards, because it really is about paying attention and being in tune, not wishing it away that it's something else, because life is complicated. We all know that. I don't mean to make it sound simplistic or snotty in any way. Life is complicated, but if it wasn't, we would never learn anything.
By the way, Missy is wanting to call in, and she said that I screened the call, but she said that she's very experienced in the subject. Would you like?
Oh, I love it. Sure. Absolutely.
All right. Missy, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Call dropped, but I did call back.
Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Excellent.
I've had, I don't know, probably 20 years worth of experience with this. In the beginning I wasn't sure what it was, but the dreams tend to be very vivid, and I know when it's more of a premonition or a prophetic dream than, just a dream.
Oh, absolutely.
I can remember more details, and I would have to say, I've got 3 urns on my shelf, and I've dreamt of all of them. My father-in-law passed, my father, and I lost a little girl, and I actually had a dream. Yeah. I lost my father a week after I had the dream. His time was, she just said, I don't have long. He was all in white, and I knew that week spent with him. My daughter, I knew from the moment I found out I was pregnant that she wouldn't survive. She had anencephaly, but it's helped. It kind of helped me deal with everything. Kind of prepared me. That's how I feel. It's like it's preparing you for something that's very hard.
That's what I was saying. That's what I was saying before. That I would rather know and to let whoever it is that I see those kinds of losses, I would rather they know than not know.
Yeah.
Because at least it gives us time as human beings to spend with the people we love.
Right. I actually went and saw my mother yesterday because I had a dream about her like a week ago, and I don't know how long she has, but I think it's maybe a few months, but just trying to spend as much time as I can with her.
Isn't that the reason we're all here, Dolly?
Yep.
That's the reason. And yes, you're right about your mother, honey.
Yeah.
But you know what? She's so fine with it.
Oh yeah, she's not attached
father.
to you desperately.
Yep.
And she is so fine with leaving. It's like she wakes up every morning going, "Are we there yet?"
Well,
she is just fine with it.
And we, Hannah was with me, and she goes, "I don't dream of him anymore." And she goes, "Grammy, Mimi, he's with you. He's always with you. He's waiting." Like,
You bet. Well, he's preparing the greeting party.
Yep. Yep.
It is, and you know what? This will be very peaceful, sweetheart. We mourn what I always called, this is a Karenism, the Karen word.
Yeah. I almost feel like she's gonna pass in her dream, in her sleep. I feel like it's gonna be peaceful.
It feels very peaceful, and she has a big greeting party, honey.
Oh yeah.
She has a whole bunch of people there waiting for her that will help her over. This will be incredibly peaceful. And I am really, really deeply, deeply grateful that you listen to your dreams because they're so important. People don't understand that they are such a gift. And if we pay attention, boy, it sure makes some of these life transitions so much easier.
It was kind of funny when I started, like one thing that helped me develop this is I was looking into astral projection, and I would tell myself where I'm going to go, and it worked. So
funny about that, huh?
Yeah. And now it's like I'm having it more during the day when I'm awake, like clairaudience.
Oh, sure. Lucid dreaming. Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, dreams are very powerful if we learn to listen to them and not think, "Oh, gee, that was silly. What the heck was that?" And there are so many elements of dreaming that are symptoms of certain things, or they represent certain things. It's like anytime you see a dog in a dream, the dog represents a friend. Okay? Anytime you see a cat in a dream, the cat represents a feminine friend. And it's so interesting. Bodies of water. I don't care if it's a swimming pool. I don't care if it's a lake or the ocean. Go ahead.
What about if you're flying? Because I have this reoccurring dream for many years, and I'm
Oh
flying.
my God!
Vivid
So
colors.
did I. And that's
I love that dream.
That is about the freedom to be yourself.
Oh.
That is literally the dream of freedom.
I love that dream, and there's a big body of water, and I actually go into the water, down into the sea, and it's so vivid and blue with these beautiful cliffs and all that.
That is a dream about being emotionally free. When I was a tiny little girl, that was my most vivid dream, was dreaming about flying. Well, of course, without a plane.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of animals this week just physically in real life. Like I've had a black cat cross in front of me, left to right. I saw a coyote and a couple foxes. It's just, and
well, you got a bunch of friends, darling. They're showing up. They're showing up.
Water? What did you say about
water? Water is about emotion. That is what every body of water in a dream represents, is emotion. And it depends if the water is dirty or murky. That's serious stuff. That is something that is an uncomfortable and unhappy situation that needs to be dealt with. It needs to be cleaned.
I have the most frightening painting that I did in high school that made my mom just want to have it go away. And it was a painting of me as a shadow with the devil pulling me under and an angel stretching out their I just missed my driveway. The angel leaning over like a cliff and outstretching an arm, and I'm trying to reach the angel's arm as I'm being pulled under by the devil into this choppy, dark, murky water.
Yep.
Yeah. And it was like,
well, that internal combat that you were dealing with, we know who won that one, sweetheart. And it wasn't the devil. You know what?
Yeah,
but that happens when we're ready to say, bye-bye.
Yeah. Gosh, that took a long time.
Well, you also had a lot of external things that were going on at the time because you grew up with very different gifts than your family were familiar with. I can imagine talking to your parents about doing guided meditations and all the things that we do, and chakra cleanses and
Oh, yeah. And
so that would have gone over really big, don't you think?
Exactly. And then going to a psychiatrist and then telling my mother there's something wrong with her. She's too happy.
Oh, yeah. Well, I rest my case. Okay.
Yeah.
that goes back to exactly what I was saying. But prophetic dreams are so interesting when it comes to the emotional elements, because they express themselves according to what really is going on in your life or what is coming up.
Oh,
and
okay.
Yes. And that it's funny because that painting doesn't surprise me at all, considering what you chose to do when you became an adult. It's it was more important for you to be who you are, for the angel to win, than for the devil to drag you under.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
So I can imagine that must have made your mom really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
She was going, no, don't take my daughter.
Yeah, she was like, why did you paint this? This is like morbid. Yeah.
Well, Mom, since you asked.
Yeah. So, yeah.
That's hilarious.
That
is hilarious. Dreams
are.
It's so fascinating to me how dreams are such a window into our unconscious and how we it's an opportunity for us to work through the issues that we deal with in our conscious life. Not that everybody that's awake is conscious, you know.
Yeah.
My husband
I wish I could
can't wake me
remember.
up. I sleep
More
so deep.
dreams.
I'm sorry.
Couldn't hear.
That got all garbled up because two people were talking.
No, sorry. I said my husband, I'm a very deep sleeper when I'm dreaming, so he hates the fact that, I don't wake easily. It's very difficult to wake me when I'm sleeping.
Wow, lucky
How
you.
often do you remember your dreams? Because I wish that I could remember mine more often, and I don't remember the dreams very often.
Less than.
What was that?
Well, let me tell you a story that happened to me. The thing that inspired my father to want to be a psychiatrist was dreams. He's always found it fascinating. I took this memory course many years ago. Well, what happened was one of the things they told you to take the vitamins is something called lecithin. It's acetylcholine or something. I don't really remember. Anyway, that's what it was called. And I was going to talk about this dream tonight, so I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Well, I took the lecithin before I went to bed, and it's supposed to have memory and everything. And that night, I had the single most vivid dream I've ever had in my life. I was reminiscing the first day that we moved into the house that we're living in now, and so now, where everybody was, where the furniture was, everything, where we all were, and the thing is that I woke up and I told Dad about the lecithin, and I said, Dad, I didn't take it with the intent that it was going to increase my memory. I just remember dreams. It just took me the night before I went to bed. And of course, Dad asked me, he goes, well, how much do they tell you to take it? I said, well, I take a teaspoon, and he goes, okay, give me a handful.
That's funny.
He was very big into dreams. So, he said that his idea was that he thought there may be something to that because it was an accident. Lecithin is a vitamin.
I know it is, and it is a necessary vitamin.
It's supposed to improve memory, but I have found that when I take it before I go to bed, I've had extremely vivid dreams.
Oh,
so you might
okay.
When do you have vivid dreams?
When I take the lecithin before I go to bed.
Interesting. Very interesting.
Very vivid.
I have very vivid dreams. For me, it's like being there. And don't you love the ones that are the ones where you walk into a place and you think to yourself, it's deja vu? And you realize that it feels so familiar because you weren't ever there in this life, but you saw it in a dream.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had dreams where I'm actually dreaming of things as they happen, and I've woken up and called my mom and regarding other relatives, like, oh yeah, that definitely happened. So, wow, just.
Interesting, isn't it? I love dreams because they really are. It literally is like either red alert, which are the prophetic dreams. It's like get prepared for this, or like for you, Missy, go pick up the phone and make a phone call.
Yep.
Those kinds of things. And it is, or they can be, I keep wanting to say emotional elements of either clearing things out or being open. If somebody dreams about a very beautiful and peaceful ocean and they're standing on the sand or something looking at the water, or they're in a sailboat or something on the water, those things are all, that's about a vast emotion that is about being peaceful. It is not choppy, nobody's in danger. It is this enormous pool of feeling that a person is having.
That's nice. What about, okay.
Go ahead.
2 nights ago I had a dream that I couldn't breathe and I was gasping for air. I couldn't breathe and I woke up and I was fine. Do you know what that means?
Yeah, that's taking on more than you can deal with. So it's about paying attention to not letting yourself become overwhelmed with things.
That kind of makes sense. Just a couple of days
exactly
ago
what
that
it
I had
feels
that.
like.
Right? Yeah.
And that's what that dream would represent. It's that, it's like when somebody's running and they can't breathe. At the end of it, it's like, why didn't you stop and just kind of stroll the rest of the way,
Yeah.
And
so
yours,
makes sense.
That's about not putting yourself under unnecessary pressure, and you're going to love this, learning to say no.
Okay. So they're kind of like self-explanatory, basically.
Many,
you can figure them out yourself.
Absolutely. It's understanding what the elements of the dream represent. Cars, any mode of transportation, an airplane, a choo-choo train, it doesn't matter if it's an old one or a new one. Cars, doesn't matter if they're old or new unless they're battered or in a wreck. Any mode of transportation also is an element of emotion. If you're in a car and it's a car that's speeding very fast, you're involved in a emotional situation that is going to get out of control, racing into it. If a car it has been in an accident and you're driving it and the car's all beaten up, that is about putting yourself, what are we in our car? We lock the doors, we close the windows, we think we're safe. But the external world, what a beat-up car or something that's been a mode of transportation that's been in an accident represents, is that the outside of your life, it's a false sense of security, and it's something that is damaging to your life.
So we have to listen to our dreams.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we have them. And it's sometimes I've met people over the years. I used to do a lot of dream analysis with therapists for their patients because our dreams tell you a lot about what's going on in your life, what's coming up, what you're working through, and it's giving yourself permission, which a lot of people don't, to actually look at them instead of just kind of fluffing them off and going, God, I had the goofiest dream.
Right.
Those are the ones that you really need to pay attention to.
Sometimes you have dreams and they're so great to you and you try to re-explain them to somebody and it just doesn't have the same effect.
Well, they're hard to translate because emotionally they're very impactful. It's our unconscious. And when your unconscious comes to, it's like in Technicolor most of our dreams.
Yeah,
it's like, how'd that happen? And try and explain that process to somebody that doesn't understand Technicolor.
Right. What about people who are taking sleep aids? I don't like taking those because I like to know what's going on even when I'm sleeping, and it seems like that could alter dreams, or make them so you definitely never can remember your dreams?
Well, some people people that need to be in constant control of everything do not give themselves permission to dream.
Oh.
Right. Because they're ever vigilant. So they turn nothing over to their unconscious.
Subconsciously, or they just know they're not?
Yeah, they have to be in control. And having a dream of a kangaroo romping it through your head would be.
You don't want
on
that.
a skateboard.
Yeah.
In the beginning of my dreams, I used to take like herbal teas, it was a special blend of like green teas. And actually, I would tell myself, you're going to dream and you're going to remember it. And that kind of helped me, how I kind of developed it.
And that's when you're okay to let yourself dream. See how you are? I'm talking about those other people that are buttoned down a little too tight, Missy.
Yeah.
What does it mean if somebody appears to you in a dream and says, I'm going to tell you something, but you won't remember it when you wake up? And it's actually, I got this dream, it was my grandfather. I think I told you about this dream many years, one of the times when you were on the show. Do you remember this? I don't know if you remember this.
I do remember it, but please share it with everybody else.
I had a dream where my grandfather appeared to me, and I knew that he had passed on. And he says, I'm going to tell you something, but you won't remember it when you wake up.
Well,
I don't know what that means.
Well, it's something that was very deeply personal that he did not take the time to share with you when he was alive. And it may not be consciously available to you. You can't draw it up in memory what he said, except you remember that part. And what he wanted to tell you, you definitely, we almost inhale it, I think,
Well, it's sort of funny. He was, this is the kind of guy he was. He was an accountant, and he was very, 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 very good at math. And
I would hope so. Those two things, he better be.
He would sit down and, actually he probably would never talk to us like he was an atheist. But what was so funny was he would sit down and he would talk to me, and he would always tell me these stories, but they might as well have been math word problems in high school, because they would always end up with you wanting to get out a calculator and find out what the number was. It always ended with them saying, and the amount of it was this fantastic number, this fabulous number.
That's adorable.
And I'm thinking to myself, you would sit down, it would be like it would be telling a story about a war or a boxing match or something. And in the end, it was this fabulous number.
That's so sweet, though.
And
That's so
sweet. He taught math in college. He taught college math.
Of course. I figured that's what he did.
It actually what's so funny is that at the funeral, they told the story, not to get too off on the subject, but they IRS called him and they said that, we have a refund for you. And he goes, I don't want it. I did my taxes. I know how much I paid. Listen, you have a refund. And he goes, I don't want it. And he argued with him for 30 minutes using, he was a staunch mathematician,
Well, I have to say something funny about the dream that you had of him saying, I'm going to tell you something, but you're not going to remember it. Okay?
Yep.
His reputation was of being very accurate about things. And he was not the guy that you would ever hear say the phrase, I have no idea. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guy that was in control, but underneath all that, he was a bunny rabbit. He was part pixie and had this wonderful sense of humor and was warm and this like a love bunny, you know? And
Right.
but that was his big, it's like he wore a disguise his whole life of Mr. In Control. You know, but not grumpy, but in control.
Mhm.
He knew he was the go-to guy. And
I know.
nobody, there were 4 people on the planet that ever knew he was a snuggle bunny, you know,
Who was that?
and had a great sense of humor and laughed easily and loved people.
When
I
you
mean,
say that those 4 people, I have a feeling I think I know who those were. His wife and his 3 kids.
I think that is very true. Well, 2 of his kids for sure. One of them was like from another planet.
Actually, he had my aunt later on in life.
Mhm.
But I don't know the kind of relationship that he had with my aunt. But what's so funny was is that he was just so funny. I mean, he was just like, he would tell a story, and then he would, and I often would have dreams where I see him, and he comes over there and he goes, "They give me lots of food here," or he's often walking around. And my father was my grandfather was a very and him and my father, they didn't exactly. I don't want to
get along.
No.
I know.
So it's not that they didn't get along. They got along on everything except for politics.
Yeah.
My
Well,
father
but
was,
honey,
my
that's
father was,
okay.
Yeah, my father was a Republican, and my grandfather was a Democrat. I mean, he would say my grandfather would say to my father, "Yeah, you know why you vote Republican? You vote Republican because you don't want to give away your money. You just don't want to give up your money." And then my dad would say, "Yep, that's right."
You know what? And if that's the only thing they disagreed on, good for them. Good for them. You are very blessed to have had your grandfather around and your parents, and you are very blessed, my friend.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful thing. Yeah, I love that you're even when after your grandfather's long gone and he's telling you, "I'm going to tell you something." I mean, it's like that pixie that lived in him.
Well, the idea of sort of, okay, I'm going to tell you something, and see, this is a really great thing that you're going to have to figure out. But it's just, you understand, that sounded like something that he would say, because he would give some, he wouldn't just say it. He would say, okay, here's this. It's like if I told you some of the stories that he said, you would have to get out a calculator. Seriously, you would have to go.
No, I'm going back to the dream. What I'm saying is, you knew the deepest part of who he really was.
Yeah.
And that's the critical part. Because you shared a part of him that most of the 99% of the people that knew him had no idea that he was that guy. What a beautiful gift.
Yeah.
That is a beautiful gift, Jonathan.
Have you, any of you ever had dreams about somebody passed on and...
Yes.
But you knew they were passed on in the dream? Has anybody ever had anybody else here?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like what?
Yeah.
I dreamt of I had a dream about my mother. And it was so funny because it was a house that was in a movie. It was, I want to say, either the Sixth Sense house or one of those houses. And I was driving supposedly up the driveway. And the house was built at the top of this pretty steep driveway. And just as I was pulling into the driveway, all of a sudden my mother appeared at the driver's side window.
Whoa.
And yeah, and she put her hand on my arm, and I said, Mom, I said, you're here. I said, let me park the car and I'll go with you. And she said, you can't go with me, baby girl. I just wanted to come and tell you that I love you. I didn't go anywhere. I will never forget it if I live to be 1,000 years old. It is like she is with me all the time. And that dream is as vivid as if I had it yesterday.
Wow.
I mean, she was as crystal clear to me as she was in life. Put her hand on my arm. And when I said to her, let me just park the car, I'll come with you. And she said, you can't go with me, baby girl. And I'll never forget it if I live to be 1,000. So,
have you
yes.
have you like that, Kelly?
I can't remember mine, but I do know that my mom's mom had one that was so strong that my mom wanted to go with her friends in high school to Lake Michigan, and my mom wasn't in trouble for anything, but my grandma told her, absolutely not, you are not going. And she's like, well, am I in trouble? And she said, no. And she's like, well, why can't I go? And she said, you're just not going. And,
not her time. Yep.
Yeah. And come to find out, everybody that went in a convertible, and the spot where my mom normally would have been sitting was in the back of the convertible, kind of up where the top of the seat was, because that's kind of like what they did. And they went fast, and there was another car with boys, and they were kind of racing, and they missed the turn, and I
that
think
was
everybody
all they wrote.
Yep, and there's still a scar on that tree to this day, and I think one person may have survived, but it wasn't where my mom was sitting, and they're in a wheelchair, and nobody else survived. And I think the other vehicle with the boys, yeah, the other vehicle with the boys, that might have been the survivor. I'm not sure, but everybody pretty much died. And
it wasn't her time, honey. It wasn't her time. Yeah. When my mother said, no, you can't, baby girl. It's like those are the dreams that save us. They save our lives.
Yeah.
And God bless your mother for having listened.
Well, yeah, my mom was mad at my grandma, but
I know, honey, but that's the human that's the human part of her. That was the human part of her.
Yeah.
And when when we're kids, we want what we want. What do you mean I can't go?
Yeah.
It's like no is a simple 2-letter word. What's the problem?
Yeah. Right. So I'm
it
sure
is amazing.
I can't remember, but yeah.
I love that. Yeah, dreams are so important, and listening to them is very important. It is critical in many ways to our existence and survival. And most people don't understand how important the actions of our subconscious are. And it's like, there we are.
I'm sure you all have had those dreams where you feel like you can't run. You're trying to run, and your legs just feel like so heavy, and you're in slow motion. Those.
Yeah.
Oh, those are horrible. Oh,
yeah, but you're not supposed to pay attention to that part. Those represent being stuck in a circumstance that you need to literally walk away from.
Okay.
Oh.
That's what those represent.
I think those dreams, when I'm in that position, I the way I handle it is I don't try running in the dream, because I know that, if it's sort of like, there's a little Japanese thing, the harder you pull, and I mean, what I do is I just imagine myself moving, and then, and it works. If it's just a dream, I just say,
Wow.
okay.
That's pretty good if you can do that in your dream.
Right. That's what I was
Well, it
thinking.
has to do, I think, that the reason you probably can't grow in your dreams is that it's sort of like the don't think about the color of pink elephant. I mean, the thing that is helping
Of course.
you with, your that was making your muscles want to move is the same thing that's slowing it down. So it's sort of like if you took both of your hands and then you pressed them together, and then you tried to, wrestle yourself, you wouldn't go very far. That's my take on it. I'm not saying it's
Well,
right.
and I'm
just
sure
saying
in a lot of ways you're right. I'm sure in a lot of ways you're right. But that's kind of, there is an unconscious part, big unconscious part to the dream process. And there are those people that can be constantly in control of their dreams, but they're going to kind of miss a part of what the lesson is.
Right.
Or the message of the dream,
Now, I have a question. Is it true that you can't read in your dreams?
You can't what, dear?
Read in your dreams.
Read?
Yes, that's what I've heard.
I have never heard that, honey. I've never heard that.
The reason I say that is I get real skeptical when I hear stories about, well, I dreamt all the winning lottery numbers. Well, it's
You know
I
what?
find it hard to
But
believe.
that's a whole different part of than what we're talking about here.
No, I understand, but what I'm saying is that I find that hard to believe because I've never been able to see numbers in my dreams. The numbers don't appear right. They, in the word, it's sort of like, it's a jumbling
Well,
of
and
numbers,
that's something I have. Then those are the things you're not supposed to know. That's not about you not being able to read. That's not. I don't know who told you that, but that's not true.
Kelly, you sent me a message. You were going to say something?
Oh, yeah, Brian's got a question, if that's okay.
I'm fine with that. Sure.
Okay, yeah, let me give that to him.
There's a kind of a subject, and it's funny that Johnny actually brought that up because I've noticed that myself personally. Like, I'll be in a dream and I'll be trying to read like a text message or something, and I just can't. It's like I see some words, but they just don't make sense, and I can't quite focus on them. I don't know, and so I don't know what that means, or if I've ever been
Well,
able to.
I think my knowledge of that is that when it's something that you cannot define clearly in the dream, means that you are not ready to get that information.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes perfect sense. There
is a time when you will be. It just isn't at that time.
Gotcha.
Well,
So
that's too. I've heard it because of the but see, here's the problem. And I've heard the argument, well, the part of the brain that has to do with dreaming is different than the part of the brain that has to do with reading. No, you're using your brain 100% of the time. The business of you only use 10% of your brain, that's not true. But I think what it is like if I read the description of the show right now, okay, I have to look at a series of words and get information in. But if I'm asleep, the information's already in. So I'm not reading something. I'm not taking information. And the only thing I'm doing, you can't take an information that's already there. And the information isn't organized. So instead of, like, if you read, even something simple like a sentence, like if I was to read the words dream interpretation and premonitions with Karen Page, it was while I was dreaming, I wouldn't be able to get through the sentence. It wouldn't so, because by the time I read dream interpretations, it would be dreaming of blah, 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 and it wouldn't even come out right.
That came out just fine.
Yeah, well, that's how it is with me.
Well, see, I don't believe that you can't take in what you already know. I don't believe that, because you never know if there's something in there that you may have gone, oops, and you're supposed to go over it again. And usually in the dream state, it's not going over things that you already know. They're things that are coming up. It's a tool to either confirm something that you know, or to warn you about something that God knows we've all deluded ourselves into thinking somebody's nicer than they are. And some people, we have to, it is a gift to us to know that they are going to be leaving. That Missy's had it, I've had it. It's, it is a part of being human.
Mm-hmm.
So,
at one point, I even when I lost my little girl, I asked my grandmother, who has passed, if she could take care of her for me. And literally, I dreamt her coming to me and saying,
of course,
the answer to your question is yes.
Of course she would.
Yeah, and very much a blessing, to know that, that she's with her.
Oh, sweetheart, she is so fine. She is so fine.
Yeah.
And she was there exactly for as long as she was supposed to be. You know that.
Yes, I know that. And I don't know I'm not sure. I kind of took that, I had my son after her, and he had like a little birthmark on his foot that looked like 2 feet. I'm not sure what exactly that meant, but I thought it was some sort of with her.
Probably. That sounds right.
I had him literally after I lost her. The doctor told me to wait, and I didn't. Because in the dream that I had about her, it said you're going to go on and have a child. And he was born, her birthday is February 2nd, Groundhog Day, and he was born January 20th, so very close.
Well, and forgive me, but, I've always believed that we come in when it's time for us to be here. And it feels like she kind of rushed the mark a little bit.
Yeah.
And your life was not ready for her to be here. And she kind of went, oops, sorry about that, Mom.
Yeah, we had just moved to Indiana, and just, it wasn't the best time, and, but...
Yep, that sounds right. Because that's usually that lesson, is that look around your life. You have 984 things going on right now. Where are you going to put me? Darn, I came in too early,
But every year, like, she would have been 14 this coming year. I've decided from now on I'm going to pay for another child's birthday cake on her birthday. So.
Oh, that's a lovely gesture. That is lovely. That is really lovely.
In the beginning, I used to leave her like little trinkets on for her birthdays. But I'm like, this is more meaningful,
Oh, that's
helping
so
another
sweet.
child.
That is very sweet. It's funny because I was, my parents lost 3 sons. I had 3 brothers. And I was not supposed to be here, supposedly, according to the doctor. Told my mother after my sister was born, you have your child. Go enjoy your life now. My mother said 1 more. And I was the 1 more.
No.
And he said, but you have your daughter. Why are you doing that? And my mother said, 1 more. And he said, okay. And he wound up being my very first doctor. When I was like 15 or 16. And he said to me, wow. He said, so turn around. Let me see you. And I turned around and he said, you haven't changed a bit. I hadn't seen him since he delivered me, by the way.
My mom had 9 children.
Oh, God bless her.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to get back to Kelly. Are you there, Kelly?
Yeah, hi. Brandon just asked his question because.
So go ahead, honey, ask the question.
Sorry.
Yeah, it kind of just took another direction, and I didn't want to just cold interrupt everybody. But
that's okay. Everybody else does.
Well, I don't want to be that guy. But yeah, a reoccurring, I guess, theme. In a lot of my dreams, I think maybe I'll have this maybe a couple times a year, maybe more often, but there are dreams where, like, I'll be packing, getting ready for either vacation or camping or to go somewhere, get out of my house, get out of town, get out of work or something like that, and it just seems like something else is in the way. I got to do this before this happens, or somebody's dragging their feet on this, and it's just all I'm trying to do is get packed up. Either I'm packed up and ready
is that
to go.
in the dream? You're packing in your dream?
Sometimes, yeah, it's stuff like that, or I'm trying to leave, get out of town, go. It sometimes feels like it's a vacation that I'm trying to get
That's
on.
Funny. That's actually quite funny to me. Because the meaning of that dream that you can never get out, is something always comes up. That's about dealing. That's about trying to get away from you. Do you understand that? And the things that keep coming up are things that are more important than you going here or going there, or because all the packing is so telltale, my friend.
So it's like I'm trying to avoid
Bingo.
dealing. Okay. So it's
Bingo.
something I've got to deal with and stop trying
That's
to.
exactly, and that's why you do not have the freedom to go play and romp and whatever it is. It is literally about taking care of the things that are right here, right now. Don't think you're going to pack up and get out so easy,
Oh wow. Okay. Wow.
And that's the real message in the dream.
Okay.
And it's very interesting because all the things you're packing, they're your things.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, I'm getting out of here. It doesn't matter what the circumstance are. And the message in the dream is, no, you're not. You're going to deal with this right now, and you're going to unpack all that stuff you think you're taking with you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really wow. And I mean, from all the times we've talked before. You know that I've spent most of my life running from the things that I've had to try to do.
Oh, that's so interesting. Those dreams, that's exactly what those dreams are. They're so indicative of, oh, no, you're not. You're going to stay here and deal with it. And until you get it, you're going to keep having this dream.
Huh. I wish I could remember. I wish I could pinpoint the last time I did have that type of dream, because that would really kind of, I probably have had it maybe at least within the last 2 years, maybe the last year. I can't quite pinpoint it, but
and you have transformed your life in that period.
Oh yeah.
It goes back to what we were talking about before about becoming conscious.
Yeah.
And giving yourself permission to do that.
Okay.
And wow, once you do, party on, Garth.
I have a dream I want to ask you about.
Go ahead.
If he's done, Brian, if you're done.
Thank you. Yep.
Okay, I didn't want to cut you off again.
Thank you.
I have time and time again dreamed, and for some reason, I don't know what it is. For me, sixth grade was an extremely hard year for me because I had just gotten out of fifth grade, and they didn't do anything with me in fifth grade. They didn't give me any work, so I sat around all day and I counted the hundreds.
God, you must have been bored out of your mind.
When I went into sixth grade, I was treated with like a terror with this teacher named Miss Donaldson, and nothing went right. I couldn't do anything right. And I guess the point I'm trying to get at is I always dream I'm back in sixth grade, but this is exactly how it goes. I'm back in sixth grade, and the teacher is talking to me, trying to teach me. But see, this is the thing. I'm aware of what's going on, and I'm saying to her, listen, lady, okay, let me show you something here. Come here for just a second here. Okay, this is a college diploma. Okay? You see it? It is the 4-year college diploma. I don't want to be here. 4-year college diploma, and I flash it right in her face. And it's like, they know, the lady should know that I'm out of place. They know that this is ridiculous. Why would a 4-year college, graduate, be? I'm not trying to swim horn, but I'm just saying, if you're a 4-year college, if you have a 4-year college degree, you're not going to be back in sixth grade. So why do I keep having those dreams?
Well, whatever you were feeling during that time feels like that's the part that isn't resolved. It's not about you not being smart. It's not about you not getting it. It's that whatever emotional stuff was going on during that time, you are still grappling with. And part of it feels like it's about feeling insecure. She must have really upset you, that teacher, and made you feel like you. Yeah, well, why are you still carrying her around, honey? You've already graduated.
Well, that's just it. I don't know. I do know this, though, that my ability to draw is horrible. And one day we had to draw pictures of her teachers. And I'm not kidding. I drew her as this green thing sitting in a chair. Well,
my father,
I told my mom about this. She laughed her head off. I mean, she just said, "Oh, son," it was awful because I had cerebral palsy, and if you think my handwriting is bad now, I mean, it was just awful. And I'm thinking to myself, I often wondered, like, if there was something going on in her life. Like maybe
I don't care about her life, honey. I don't. Those are the people I always wonder why the heck did they decide to become a teacher? Because there are no two children that are exactly the same or that learn exactly the same. So her being Miss Grumpy Pants all the time and making you feel inadequate, that's what you're carrying around, honey. That's the message of that dream.
She yelled at all the kids. She yelled at all the kids.
But I don't care how they dealt with it. We're talking about you. And they probably told her to go stuff it after they got out of school, and you are still sensitive to it and carrying it around. And you could ask why until the cows come home, but it's not going to satisfy this. If when you tell me that she was upset, she was that way to all the kids, that speaks volumes about whatever was going on in her life. It had nothing to do with you, her being mean.
What do you think was going on in your life?
Honey. She probably hated her job. She probably came from a miserable home, and she put herself in that situation to treat kids the way she was treated. That's sad.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Let that go, Johnny.
Yeah, no kidding. Don't carry that around, Jonathan. I mean, thank God I wouldn't give her that.
I still have the dreams. It's like, oh, yeah, this is the 6th grade, but I'm a 4-year-old.
I rest my case.
Mm-hmm.
Don't carry that around. Because whatever her stuff was, and I beg of you to let yourself get the lesson.
Yeah.
She didn't do that because of you. She did that because that's who she was. Had nothing to do with you, honey.
Mhm.
What a grumpy twit. And
yeah.
these are the scars you're still carrying around? Oh no.
Yeah.
Don't do that, sweetheart. Please. You're way too nice for that, Jonathan.
Yeah.
It's the most common dream in my life. I mean, that's one of the reasons why I don't want kids. I don't want to have to.
Yeah, but you know what? She did so much damage. Shame on her.
Yeah.
I mean, really, shame on her. You don't do that to children.
They should have fired her a long time ago.
You're not kidding. Well, I have a feeling we don't have to worry about her anymore.
Right.
I think she went to that a schoolroom, a classroom, probably very similar to the one she created here. Wow, what a miserable life. But don't carry that around, sweetheart. She has nothing to do with you. Oh, we all
ran
do.
those teachers out. Priscilla had a teacher like that, and I reported her. I went to the principal, and that ended up, she got caught, and a lot of parents complained, and she ended up just never coming back.
What a gift if people would speak up more. And I'm sorry, I don't mean the delicate flower stuff, but being a delicate little flower. I'm talking about a teacher that really should not be working with children. Jonathan's teacher, the one that Priscilla had, somebody has to say something.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately not all the people in the schools are psychic.
Yeah.
They don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I hope Johnny can let that go. Are you going to be able to do that, Johnny? Because you're carrying that around for so many years.
I mean, I just, I will tell you this, though, that I ran into one of the other teachers that, one of the other ladies that, used to work with her. And I said, she retired. And I said, good riddance. Good riddance. I mean, basically, it wasn't just me. She was dealing with every kid.
Oh,
I mean,
no,
it's,
I
you know, I
understand
think,
that. That's why I said to you, I promise you this had nothing to do with you. She was taking out on you whatever was going on in her life, honey. It had nothing to do with you.
Good.
And all the kids were getting beaten up because of her being a miserable cow. And it's like I'm so sad when they take their stuff out on kids. It's like, I'm sorry you're having a crappy life, but go look in the mirror. You can change this at any time.
There's something wrong when teachers are a source of nightmares. I don't think that's what teachers really mean to be the good ones.
And you know what,
Jonathan? I don't think they go to
Jonathan?
work. Yeah.
98% of them are not those people. The monsters. And most of them are in it for the right reason and really love working with kids. And I'm sorry that you had that experience. I'm sorry Priscilla had that experience. I think we all had one teacher along the way that was a real charmer,
Mm-hmm.
and should have found something else to do with their life. But I beg of you, honey, don't carry that with you anymore.
Well, I'm trying not to, but
No, trying's like being pregnant. You either are or you're not. And
Okay,
since I'm
that's
pretty
true.
darn sure you're not pregnant, you can do this.
Yes, if I was, believe me, I would be contacting the newspapers. But
You're not kidding. Film at 11.
I would be responsible. So I mean.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm saying to you that now it is a choice for you to give her that power in your life.
Yeah.
She can't do any more harm. Let her go.
Mhm.
You know what I mean, Jelly Bean?
Yes.
Please?
Yes.
We've all known those people, and it's kind of they're lost that they miss so much in their life. And that's sad to me. It's like, wow, that's why you became a teacher? Poor thing. And to impact children's lives? Where did they come from? They are our lessons. They are our lessons, my friend.
Yeah.
So, yay.
But I'm sure that the ones that are really nice, I'm sure if I told them, I said, this teacher has been giving me nightmares, they'd be like, listen, I never went into teaching to do that to kids. I mean, that's just...
No, I don't think so. Because a lot of the teachers that work in the same community or the same school, they all hear what goes on with the other teachers. So I'm sure that they all know. And it is, but it's most of them can't do anything because then, the school board's not going to listen to them.
Well, a lot of it is tenured.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a high school teacher that did things that was very much against the law. Like, she would post the grades of all kids with the names on the board.
Wow.
Oh, what a charmer.
And
that must have been great.
I didn't realize many years later that was against the law. It's like those, it's like... I didn't know that was against the law for many years.
Was
it
then?
If it was, it's always been against the law. It has to do with privacy. It makes sense. that then because if a kid gets 100, you shouldn't humiliate him for being the 100th.
Well, that is a whole separate conversation.
Yeah.
Because those are the things that, unfortunately, they are part our lessons, and part the lesson of whoever is causing that grief. I'm sure it didn't work out quite the way she thought it was going to either.
No, my father, actually, it's funny because at the time, they were telling me to go see a psychiatrist. And they did it because of the stuff I was writing, But what was so funny was my psychiatrist, I was telling him I was getting picked on, and he goes, okay, well then here's what the psychiatrist says, okay, here's what you do. The next time they pick on you, hit him. Punch him in the face.
Oh my.
And then I said, well, wait a minute, I can't do that. I'll get kicked out of school. I'll get suspended and have to spend a few days home from school. And he goes, I'll defend you to Dr. Norman, which Dr. Norman was at the school, if you defend yourself. And so what he did was, my psychiatrist did, is he called my mom into the office, and he told her what he said. And then, my dad heard about it. They both agreed. They said, you know what, he's right. I mean, he has every right to defend himself. I mean, if he, we're not going to punish you. If you get suspended for a few days because you defended yourself, we're not going to punish you. And then at the time, I was taking karate, and I was like a blue belt in karate. So I just kept waiting for this kid to just provoke me just enough.
Give me a reason, yeah.
Nothing ever happened. The truth is that kid was I think, was one of those abused kids who turned into a bully himself. I mean, he was just. I mean, I don't know.
Honey, I could give you the names of two of them that were in my elementary school that tortured me from day one until I took one of them down and almost killed him. You know the story.
It's he was this kid that, and I don't want to feel sorry for him because I saw him push a legally blind kid with glasses down the front of the stairs. So I don't feel sorry.
Disgusting, angry little brat.
Yeah,
he was just a problem waiting to happen.
He was legally blind, and he got into a fight, and he punched him in the face. I saw him do it, and I reported that. And
good for you.
But I mean, it was sad,
well, that's horrible that anyone would even think that's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh boy. So, what else, gang?
Well,
I'm just glad that we did this about dreams, because I just had that one question about that wonderful vivid dream, because it's the only one that I really can remember that I have often, and it means such a great thing. So that's totally cool to find that out.
Yay!
Yeah, and wow, I didn't know you were a dream expert, Karen.
Yes, ma'am.
Wow,
yes, ma'am.
I've been wanting to have this show for a long
time.
That's
hilarious. When I lived in New York, I used to do, I did dream analysis for years, but with therapists for their patients. And when they couldn't figure out what the dreams meant that they were having, that's who I worked with. And it was so interesting and educational,
Mhm.
Very, very fascinating, because the unconscious mind is such a powerful thing. And most of the time we don't oh, absolutely more than people think. And it's so under the radar, that people don't recognize. Most people if you talk to a lot of your friends, they'll say to you, "Oh yeah, I dream all the time." And if you ask them, "Are there any that you have reoccurring, or are they vivid? Do you remember them? Were they in Technicolor? Were they, did Lassie show up?" I mean,
Right.
Most people go, "No, I dream all the time, but I never remember them." And I think to myself, a lot of the dreams, most people dream every night or when they go to sleep, and probably 95% of their dreams they will never remember. Even us that have 100 dreams that we remember. But the other ones are about letting go of things or working through things.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
This is a little more scientific and technical, but I've heard that the stage where dreams actually happen is like right before we awaken. I've heard that, and it's sort of funny because how things that are happening in the real world get incorporated in your dreams. I remember when I was a kid and I would wet the bed all the time, I would be dreaming of a lake, and then and then I wake up and I know I'm dreaming of the lake
I guess it wasn't about the lake.
Yeah, or
it was about the leak.
The alarm clock is another one, and and I think one story that my sister Chrissy told, was apparently, my sister Cassie, this is when everybody lived at home, used to do aerobics, and she used to dance, and it was like Tashina Easton, and it was the song "Strut Out, Put It Out,"
Oh, of course.
I don't know the words, but anyway. So my sister Chrissy is laying in bed and she's dreaming, and I believe she's like walking up to someone, and all of a sudden the person starts talking, and the person that starts talking says, "Strut out, put it out." and obviously what had happened was my mother sister
She was
Kathy,
on autopilot. Yep.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just. Wow.
That was what was driving her life at that time.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty funny. What?
I have a weird one. It was quite a few years ago, and it was after a head injury, and I was on like some meds or whatever, but I was sleepwalking, and I was trying to put a remote in the microwave. Thank God my parents saw me and took it out. And then apparently that night I must have done sleepwalking because I didn't recall it. And when I got up in the morning, they're like, "Do you remember doing something last night?" And I'm like, "No." And
you mean sleeping?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And apparently I had written a note talking about aliens visiting, and I had stacked about everything I could find in their kitchen, and including things that you'd normally not even imagine could stack, and I couldn't duplicate if I tried while I was awake, including like balancing things on spoons on top of coffee cups and paper clips and all kinds of weird stuff, like towers. And there were pictures somewhere. It was so bizarre.
Reminds me of Paul Newman on Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
I haven't.
Salting his mashed potatoes.
So
very funny.
Is there any sense you can make of that? Because these things were taller than I am, so I don't even know how this happened.
Yeah, but if you were taking medication,
yeah,
that would have produced that. That is a dream that does not have a meaning so to speak, an emotional or life impact meaning. Except, wow, that's pretty darn creative. I got to hand it to you.
Well, I don't know if it was I don't know what I was taking at the time. I can't remember. But, I don't know if it was medication induced or if it was just head injury. But
could have been the combo pack.
Okay. Yeah. So
could have been the combo pack, sweetheart.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, yeah, because, it was bizarre. And so, I don't know how
I just think it's serious. I think it's really creative. Because clearly, whatever was going on was something that you needed to act out in a way that thankfully was not injurious.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't go try and drive the car.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Yeah.
Or make snow angels,
Oh. Yeah.
So
or
that's a good thing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or think you could fly and climb up to the roof of the house,
Oh, God. Yeah. Yeah.
So learning to do acrobatics in the kitchen with everything, you go, girl.
Yeah, that was, it's like I had to get on top of something to make these towers on the countertop that were almost up to the ceiling.
That's my point. It's like that was serious acrobatics in the kitchen. Wow. I'm completely impressed.
Well, yeah, so was everybody else. And I was just like, I didn't do that. They're like, well, we didn't do that. And I'm like, okay.
And you're going, of course you did. Don't you remember?
Yeah, I didn't.
I love it. I love it. Yep, dreams, they are definitely colorful.
Yeah.
And it's so funny when
And nobody woke up, and their bedroom was like, their bedrooms are just down the hall, like, 10 feet, 20 feet. How did they not hear me? It was all over the kitchen table, the counters, the stove.
Yeah, but they weren't supposed to hear you, honey. That was your experience. And possibly if you hadn't been able to act it out in a clearly artistic and creative way, it may have been, like I said, you trying to drive the car.
Yeah.
So, and if if they had woke you up, it may have had much more complicated effects.
Oh, boy. Okay.
Yeah. Because that's, a lot of that stuff stays in your system, and if you had a head injury, oh, yeah. So thank God they didn't wake up.
Oh, okay, good.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And see, you turned out fine, and not a dish was broken.
Yeah, exactly.
That is pretty darn cool, girl.
Yeah, the question was, how do we take this down and not break anything?
It's like, yeah. that would be me.
Yeah, because I wasn't going to do that in reverse while I was awake. That was for sure. So
well, that's when you tell them, yes, this is what I've been doing in my spare time, and you thought that those acrobat classes were a waste of time.
Okay, well, we're about out of time, but this has been a great experience. I learned a lot, and I'm sure somebody else has.
I'm so glad.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
So thank you all for coming on. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Karen. And thank you.
I love you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you.
Love you
Everybody.
too.
Good night,
Have
you
a great
sweethearts.
night. Night.